Hey guys, Ryan with Smoking Guns. Been a while since we did a video, and here's our first one for the new year 2019. Today we're going to be looking at the Sig Sauer P365, which in my opinion is probably one of the best, if not the best, everyday carry subcompact 9mm on the market. So without further ado, here she is, the Sig P365. So this gun came out, I believe it was beginning of last year, maybe the end of 2017. I'm not sure exactly, but the gun's not been out very long. And it's great. The gun did have some issues when Sig first debuted it. There were some people that were complaining about having misfires, breaking firing pins, and a few other problems. But Sig took all that to heart, took those guns back, and then changed the guns in production. There for a while, you couldn't get any P365s because they were going back and redesigning some problems. And what they did was they actually lightened the recoil spring. They changed the chamber design and feed ramp design a little bit to provide smoother feeding. And probably the best upgrade that they did was they went from the standard Sig night sights to the Sig X-ray sights, which have this cool little green ring on the front sight. Makes it so much easier to line up everything. So when you buy one of these P365s out of the box, it's going to come with just a standard 10-round magazine, which, considering the size of the gun, is actually pretty awesome to be able to fit 10 rounds of a gun this small. I have little bitty girl hands, so you can look and see that this gun actually fits in the palm of my hand quite well. And if you were to compare it to the size of other guns, if you look at a Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, or if you look at a Glock 43, dimensionally, they're about the same. But those guns are not going to have the capacity that the P365 has. So in addition to the 10-round magazine, seen here, that fits nice and flush, the gun also has an optional 12-round magazine. This is really cool because it doesn't add a lot of length to the grip of the gun, so maybe about 1 centimeter. So if you're one of those guys that has a bigger hand, the 12-round extended magazine is going to make a world of difference with this gun, because I've had some customers tell me that, hey, the P365 is great, but the grip's not big enough because I have big hands. Well, once you put that 12-round magazine in there, you can see it adds quite a bit more for your hand. I'll bring it around here so you can see. And it's going to fit those guys with bigger hands so much better, or girls with bigger hands. And other than that, this is a great gun. Trigger pulls about 5.5 to 6.5 pounds from the factory, depending on striker fire. Of course, same striker fire mechanism as you find in the P320. So, and as for the guys that are concerned about the firing pin breaking, don't worry, Sig went back and they fixed that too. The manufacturer that was making the firing pins for Sig wasn't meeting specifications, so they went to a new manufacturer. There are no problems with this firing pin anymore. In fact, my 365 was one of the first ones to make it out into the world. I personally never had any issues with the gun, but I contacted Sig and had them take the gun back and do all the upgrades and fix everything anyway, because, well, I carry this gun every day. I can't afford to possibly have a failure. So, and let's take a look at the gun on breaking it down. Really, really easy to break this gun down. All you have to do is pull the slide to the rear, just make sure it's empty. And there's a lever on the side here. We'll just push that lever down. Let the slide come forward. No need to press the trigger. Glock looking at you. And there's your slide. Take out a recoil spring. A barrel pops out just like any other striker fire gun does, and we'll take a good look at that. And this is the new barrel that Sig put into my gun. They replaced the barrel completely, and in fact, I think they even put a brand new slide on this gun when they repaired it for me. And I fired it some since then. Nothing seems to be wrong with it. It does great. Tremendously accurate gun for the size that it is. And something of interest is that Sig is actually coming out with their V-Crown ammunition specifically designed for the P365. So if you're one of those guys that like to shoot the heavier weight 9mm and you notice that your groupings are low or high, and you just can't seem to get it on there, well, SIG's got a special ammo just for this gun that is going to get you back on target. That said, if you're looking at concealed carry ammunition, the Liberty Ammunition Civil Defense 9mm does seem to be just on the money, and that's one of my favorite everyday carry cartridges because it's a frangible cartridge. You don't have to worry about over penetration. Seems to be very effective, though it can seem to be a little difficult to find. So if you don't know about it, look it up, read about it. Really cool ammo, something that I encourage to carry because of its unique characteristics, and it's just good ammo all around. So to put the gun back together, we'll just drop our barrel back in, put in our recoil spring, make sure their lever is down. If you notice, the lever will cock back a little bit. This sometimes can make it a little difficult to get the slide to go back on, so you may need to push it down and make sure it's level while reattaching the slide. So we'll slide it on. See, just had that problem actually. Had to make sure it's nice and straight down and that the piece inside is level to let the slide go. Lock it to the rear, and the lever kicked up automatically. We'll make sure it's in place. Let the slide go forward. We're all clear. Function test. Good to go there. So, enough talking about it. We're going to take this gun out a little bit and shoot it and show you what it does. In my hands, I'm not the greatest handgun shot in the world by any means, but you know, I'll do my best, and we'll see what kind of groupings we can get out of it and what we think about it, and look at a holster option for it too. I personally carry outside the waistband, and a pancake holster with this gun is terrific, absolutely terrific. I've carried this gun basically everywhere, and nobody ever knows that I have it on me. That's how small it is and easy to conceal it is, and I'm not a big guy. So if you are a bigger guy, they're definitely not going to know that you have this gun, and just can't recommend it enough. Definitely one of the best, if not the best, everyday carry pistols out there. So without further ado, let's get it loaded up, take it outside, and see what she'll do. All right, so just one little last piece before we actually get into the shooting with the P365. After we got done shooting, had some ammo left to that Fiyoshi and ran that through the P938 and through the Ruger LC9S. And probably just ammo related, but I did want to point out the fact that on both the 938 and the LC9S, we did have a couple of failures to fire, and I had to hit a couple of primers twice to get the round to discharge. And never did experience that on the P365. Just something to note. Could have purely been ammunition and luck of the draw, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind. So earlier we took the P365 apart, talked about it, and went over the problems, what SIG has corrected. So we're going to get ready to shoot it here in just a second, but first we've got a couple of guns to compare it to in size. The SIG P938 and the Ruger LC9S. So let's take a look at those, and you can see exactly how big this gun is compared to the other ones. This does have the 12-round magazine in it today, so that's what we're going to be shooting with. If we look at the P938 compared to it, which is one of the smallest subcompact 9mm out there, we'll lay it over top of it. So with the flush magazine, they're almost identical in size. The slide and the barrel is just a little bit longer on the 365 compared to the 938. And then we'll look at them from the top here, and you can see they're pretty much the same width, about an inch, which is the best part about the 365 being double stack and being able to fit 10 rounds in there, whereas the 938 just a whole 1, 2, 5 plus 1, 6 plus 1, something like that. And then we can compare it against the LC9S, which is another single stack gun, holds 7 in the magazine, and they're right about the same size as well. Flip them up here, you can see them side by side. So SIG's really got the advantage right there with having the 10 round and the 12 round magazine capacity. That's huge bonus to the P365. But let's shut up and shoot it and see what we can do with it. Maybe I'll be able to hit something. Alright guys, so we're loaded up the magazine, 12 rounds of Fiyoshi 9mm 115 grain. This is actually the first time I've used this ammunition in the 365, so we'll see what it does. Typically I shoot the Federal RTP to shoot up stuff. But without further ado, let's put some rounds down range and see what it do. Alright guys, couple rounds of Fiyoshi 9mm. Well, that's 3 rounds. We'll go up here and look at the target. I can tell you that I dropped the last one, but the first 2 don't look too bad. Alright, so the first 2 just a little bit low. I was holding the sight over the center of the target. So we do have a little bit of drop with the 115 grain 9mm. This one right here, I definitely dropped it, but this is actually not too bad for the distance we're shooting at. We'll step back and put a couple more rounds down at the target and see how those turn out. Alright, let's go take a look at it. So shooting at this about 15 yards. Quite a few of the rounds were low, which is not unexpected considering several people told me about how the rounds have been low using a standard full metal jacket. I guess that's why SIG has come out with their D-Crown ammunition specifically made for the P365. So this group right here is not too bad. And quite a few of them down here. That could be me, because it is fairly tight. But for self-defense distances of what this pistol is designed to do, it's going to get the job done. Now, if that's a person at 15 yards, they're definitely going to have a bad day. Every round's going to count, and you're going to take down your target. So more than pleased with that. Although I would like to see some of the rounds into the actual target zone in the center. SIG P365, great carry gun, does everything that you need it to do. I don't think you could ask for a better gun on a carry, everyday carry. And one last thing before anything else, I was talking yesterday about how concealable this gun is. So here's my outside the waistband holster. Yes, I have my belt on the outside, but that's because it holds it closer to me and tighter. I like that more. So the internet can fight about whether or not the belt should be on the inside or outside the holster. I don't really care. But put the gun in the holster, throw the shirt over it. Told you I'm not a big guy. So gun doesn't print very much. Nobody's ever known I had it. But there it is, guys, SIG P365. Probably one of the best everyday carry guns you can get. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch us next time, and don't forget to check us out at www.mysmokingguns.com.
These are the days my heart goes numb. My heart goes numb. Breathing the fumes of the ashes, the spirits light up the night, looking down the edge of forever. So stop me or take my advice.